Well, spring is springing here in the Riverland. Well, actually, it's not springing at all. It's still winter time, but it was a nice sunny day until we got out the camera, and now it's gone cloudy, but it's nice and warm. So I thought it's about the right time to have a bit of a brood check. This time of year, it's nice to know what sort of food supply the girls have stored up going forward into spring, because if they start building up their brood and all of a sudden there comes a cold snap, you don't want them to all go hungry, because it can happen quite easily. So we're very timely. John's here, you're here, so let's go and have a look inside the brood box. Of course, now the first thing we need to do is the ritual lighting of the smoker, and there'll be no laughing aloud from the cameraman. Definitely this is not totally organised, the skill in my life. But in my defence, sometimes it's because I'm talking too much and not puffing the puffers. Not puffing the puffer, or blowing the bellows, I think is a better way to put it. So here I am, trying to be the smoking man. These girls are not the friendliest girls I've ever met, so I can't find my gloves, but heck, if you hear lots of screaming and the video ends, you know I chickened out. My cunning ruse has come off. John's reluctantly given me his work gloves. I don't know, this is not necessarily the ideal bee glove, but it's a lot better than no glove. Pulled them over my wrist, and I use my little thumb rubberistic thing on my Hornsby jacket. It won't ride up on me. Oh, I don't know that it's very successful, but it'll be better than nothing. Right, let's have a look what these girls are up to. And this is my problem. By the time we get around to the reset, me smoker's nearly gone out. That's all right, we'll just do some puffing. Come on, you could do it, bag. Or even shit, wasn't it? What was that episode way back at the start when we were talking about what to put in the smoker? Oh my Lord, that was cool. That's a long time ago. We've been doing this for close to 6 years apparently. That's pretty crazy. Honestly, come on, light up. The other night when I got down to the site that I was moving the bees from, I found out that all my hessian was wet. So I had to resurrect a bit of cardboard out of where the heck did I find that? Somewhere. And I used that in my smoker, and that didn't work too bad. Burns out really quick, but at least it got me out of trouble. So if you're desperate, you know, you can always grab the cardboard box and rip it apart and stick it in your smoker. Rightio, that'll do for a minute. Of course, the easiest way to check how you're going for honey supplies for the storage is you just lift the back of the box. Now these girls are really quite heavy. I didn't actually take any honey off them before the winter because everything else was going on around the backyard. So they've got plenty of stores in the super, but the interesting thing, depending on what honey is in the super as to whether it's of any use to them as food. This is another interesting problem that can become apparent going forward. If the honey that they've got in there is actually going candy, they find it very hard to retrieve it and take it down into the brood box. So if it's above the queen excluder, it's debatable as to whether it's available. First things first, we'll give them a bit of smoke in the front. So we're just going to crack the lid a little bit, put a little bit of smoke under there, wait a couple of seconds so the girls get excited. That's good to see they're bringing in a bit of pollen. That means they're starting to get ready. Now there shouldn't be a lot of ladies up the top here. There's a few in the middle. I'll just have a look at the middle frames in the super here for a second, just to see whether they're up feeding. Whoa, what have I done? My little ledge has gone all weird. Nope. Shivers! So as you can see, they've got nice full frames of honey here. They're not actively accessing it, because sometimes if you can see if they're feeding, they will take this little bit down here when it's warm enough. This looks like it's nice and runny anyway. So that's cool. So they've got plenty of honey in the super. So we'll just pop our super off. The ladies have noticed that we're here now. So they've gone, hello, what's going on? And we'll take this off, and that'll get them excited, because they don't really want to see us. Don't be in a hurry, especially if you've only got the one box. You don't need to get too excited. Because as you know, they're getting excited that you're here, especially this time of year. Take our queen excluder off. Now we might just adjust our stand here for a minute while we're fooling around, so they're actually going forward. Which you want to lean your box forward if you possibly can. If you lean your box forward that way, at least if the rain gets inside the box, it'll run out of the front rather than get stuck at the back. Because if you have it leaning back a little bit, when they have a rainstorm, if you have a really bad one, the water will accumulate in the back of your box, and then the girls have to run through it, and there's no way for them to actually deal with it, because it's just not ideal. So if you can possibly lean your box a little bit forward to the opening, at least the water, if it does happen to get in there, it can run out. I think we've created a little bit of excitement here. What are we going to go with? We'll go with a second from the outside, which should be full of honey. We'll find out in a minute. Feels like it's pretty packed. So this is good to see. We've got a bit of bee bread over here, which is the pollen mixed with honey that they can store away so it won't go off. They've got plenty of honey stored up. They're definitely not hungry, that's for sure. I mean, I've been pretty generous to these girls anyway. Haven't technically been working them as such. So we just want to find ourselves some brood and see where we're up to. And there you go, third frame in. So third frame in, we're into the brood chamber. Looks nice pattern going on. We'll just shake our bees off. Just be nice and gentle. Try no bumping, that's a good idea. These girls are not the friendliest ladies I've ever worked with, but they're not completely psycho either. Here's what you want to start finding, the edge of the brood. She's even laying out here. So they're happy, they're building up. They got plenty of food. More pollen, which is good. Empty cells, which is good, so she's got somewhere to go. Pop that back in there. Right, so that's one brood frame. Have a look at number 2. If you're keen and you want to see your queen, don't shake them until you've had a look at your frame, because otherwise you'll never find her. We're not actually looking for the queen anyway, we're just actually looking to see how their brood's going. So as we get further into the brood, which is what you want to see, they're nice, she's got a nice solid pattern and she's looking good. The other thing you want to keep an eye out for, if you're not 100% sure just yet, if you're new at this, you want to see the larvae is nice and white and clean and looking healthy. They should be nice and white and a little bit shiny, because that means they're getting plenty of feed and you haven't really got any disease well, you still could have disease problems, but it's a good indicator that your bees are healthy if your larvae's white. That's a good indicator on the first little journey. All right, I'll give them a bit more smoke since they're regrouping here. All right, so that's 2 brood frames. All things considered, no wonder they're sitting here. I might have to get some of these queen cells going into spring. Wow, these girls are going to explode. That is hectic. Oh, that's another nice, beautiful pattern. Look at that. I mean, she's got a few gaps there, but that's fine. She's found a few holes here and planted them all together. It's nice to see that she has them in groups. It's okay to have a few gaps here and there. This is probably a bit much where they've hatched out. But if there's lots and lots of holes everywhere, then you might have then it's not ideal. The queen could be starting to fail. There's a little baby bee about to be born, just coming out right now. You can do it, little girl. Here she comes. Pop. And she's off. And you're getting to the other side now. There's a bit of a gap going on. That's where you start to see whether there's any new brood getting laid too much together. This is a good sign for your spring build-up. She's got a nice little solid pattern laying there. That means the queen's not too old, I would say, at a guess. You've got a couple of drone cells down the bottom here. A little bit more smoke to keep everybody a little calm. Now, I was going to say, we'll have to keep an eye on this because in a month or so, well, probably less than a month, these girls will be needing to be split. Oh, here's a much better laying up one. Hang on, this is even better than the one I talked about a minute ago. And the rest of the boss should be just here somewhere, maybe. I mean, this is really what you want to look for. This is a beautiful frame for looking like they're building up for spring. They're going to jump out of this box and go berserk. She's laid up this whole pattern here. So they're keen to go. As we've gone past the equinox, we're heading into spring. Look out, here we come. Nice job, Your Majesty. Even if we can't find you. As much as it's cool to find the queen, it's not necessarily that important, actually. The important thing is to see where she's been, and what you're looking for is, like I said, that beautiful laying pattern is awesome. She's got some nice capped brood that the girls have got ready to hatch, so they're going to explode with more workers. All of these bees in here, this hive, are going to go out and start foraging, and the young bees are going to nurse the new larvae, and so they're primed up for a good burst into spring. There's a reasonable amount of honey stores, there's plenty of eggs, so it looks pretty good to me. So don't get stressed out about finding the queen unless you've actually got an issue with her laying pattern. Then you have to find her, because then you have to start addressing whether you're going to get them to re-queen, or whether you're going to import a queen, or whatever else is going to go on with the queening part of things. There's a lot of to-do made about finding the queen, but it's more actually important to find out what the queen's doing than finding her. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that for a brood box. Not every brood box looks like that, by the way. And if you're wondering what's going on in your bee journey and you're not 100% sure, we have the thing that you can click on our website, our little brood box, where all the beekeepers come together and I'm there to have a chat with. This beekeeping journey has more than one answer and lots of questions, and it's a good place to interact and have a chat. So go on the website, click on the link, join the brood box. Heck, you never know, your brood box will look like that next spring. And if I haven't actually repeated myself enough times, don't forget, if you're enjoying the show, click like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Heck, let's just grow beekeepers and the love of the whole exercise. Be there or be square.